Welcome, everyone. My name is Marina Antunes, Festival Director for Spark Animation and President of the Vancouver ACM SIGGRAPH chapter. Welcome to this special entry in our Meet the Filmmakers series for Spark Animation 2022. Very excited to be here with director Mor Israeli and writer Tamar Surovich of A Journey with My Dad. The film was actually awarded a runner-up prize at this year's Spark Animation. Welcome both to Spark.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I wanted to start by asking you how you guys know each other.
Mor, do you want to start?
No, that's you.
So we met back then in Israel 8 years ago. Actually, we are a couple, and we moved together to France because Mor started her directing animation
studies. And we got married a year ago.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Exciting. Okay, so clearly you know each other very well. So let's talk a little bit about the idea for this story. Tamar, when did you? I assume this is a little bit autobiographical because the story, the name of the little girl in the story is also Tamar. When did you guys start kind of like talking? When did the story first sort of come out? When did you start talking about maybe developing this into a story?
So actually, when we lived in Valence in France, Mor was studying animation. I'm also producing music and events, and actually it was just before it was 10 years to my when my father passed away. It was 10 years after, and I think I thought about making something special. So this is from my side, and also I've kind of just accidentally spoke about his story, about his special story, to a friend, and this friend just said, wow, it's really interesting, the story, maybe you should do something with animation. And Mor, do you want to continue?
Basically, Tamar just said, like, as a sort of like a normal way, yeah, my father, he had a hole in his body. And then this friend said, what do you mean he had a hole in his body? I don't get it. And then Tamar told briefly her father's injury story and everything. And then she said, well, this is quite special. I think it can be an amazing animation film. And I was sitting there in the table and I was like saying to her, well, just with my lips, what are you doing? Like, don't go there, because I knew immediately what's going to happen. And then Tamar said, yeah, that's actually a great idea. And actually I had kind of a visual vision of this whole about how for the father it's kind of like a missing piece, and for the girl it's kind of a window to look at the world. And I think Tamar really liked it, and for her it was
when she said that, it was like unreversible. I knew what's gonna be in 4 years. I thought it's gonna take only 1 year and it would be ready for the 10-year for my father, but then it took a little bit longer. Because I didn't really know new animation, the process.
Okay, so once you know the story and you start to get ideas about what this could possibly look like, and it, like as you mentioned, Tamar, it took 4 years to produce. Can you guys talk a little bit about, once you actually started developing that a little bit further, what that script started to look like? Because it's a really interesting story, and honestly, I thought that the whole was actually not really like a whole. I thought it was like a surrealist take on like some other illness. So there has a lot of different reads.
Yeah, exactly.
So, for me, when we started developing it, it's like her father injury story was kind of like a starting point to get out of. But from the beginning, for me, it wasn't a film about like an injury or war or being a handicap. For me, it was really a film about the relationship between the father and his daughter and acceptance. And this is something from the beginning that was really important for me to put forward, because I wanted to be I didn't want it to be like a niche film that only talks to people in Israel, but I really wanted it to be a universal story. So it started very much around the war, and slowly, the more we developed it, I took really further away from this, and to really focus on to make it global, to make it even like this hole is kind of like a symbol, because we all have a hole. So somewhere, somehow. So this is where I wanted to go with it.
So what did that script look like when you guys started writing it, and how long did it take to write?
So it's, first of
yeah,
all, we had like a deadline to do it really, really fast.
we had like 48 hours to invent a script to apply for financial.
Yes, so basically, because you know we understood there is like a submission we can do in 48 hours, and I said to Mor, okay, we have to do it because it's like a good opportunity, and she said no, but it's gonna take time. And I told her, what do you need? And I just, you know, started to call in Zoom or in the phone to a lot of like, you know, the relatives, my friends of my father, and started to, you know, to have some stories, some elements. I told her, what do you need? And I will bring it on.
And
it
at the same time, yeah, you called, she got like as much of a point of view around her father and around their relationship when she was young. And at the same time, we contacted a scriptwriter named Miki Fomchenko, and he wrote the first draft of the script that was
we explained to him all we have, and he like put it in a script, like in the
it was quite different. The only thing that really stayed from that version was the idea of that this story happens throughout the weekend in a very specific place for this center for handicaps and military veterans, and other than that, the story was really, really different. It was really around this place, and at that point, I felt like the basic of the story of these happenings during one weekend is something I can relate to, but the rest I felt very far away from. And I told Tamar, if I'm directing this, I have to take it to somewhere I can connect myself. So it kind of rolled through quite a lot, from being around handicap center to where it is today, which is like the handicap center is just like something it's very much in the background. It's not the focus of the story.
One of the things I appreciate about the film so much is how simply it captures a child's perspective, like the giant, the size of the wheelchair wheel, and the getting stuck in the shirt. It's like those are moments that feel so like authentically childlike. Can you talk a little bit about capturing those moments? Like, were they from memory? Did you stumble on them? How did those develop? Because they just feel so sort of like inconsequential, but also so like universal and unique that we can all sort of relate to them.
Well, I'm happy you said that, because it was really important for me that the point of view will feel that authentic. And I guess that from the beginning, I wanted to tell this story from the point of view of a little girl, because as we are dealing with quite of a heavy subject, maybe a trauma, it was important to me to lighten it up and bring it from a different perspective. And the point of view of a girl was challenging, because as an adult, you have already too many filters when it comes to these traumas, when you look at them, even from the outside. So how to get to this very pure point of view of a child who is like discovering and has all this imagination. So I investigated quite a lot. I started looking a lot around, the children around me. And I asked Tamar a lot of questions, how it was for her as a 6-year-old girl when she just first arrived to this center to see people without legs, without how does it feel? What did you imagine? And she said, yeah, there was this guy with no legs on the wheelchair, and I just imagined he was like a sandwich that someone take a bite, like this stuff that I would never ever had in mind. And so it was a lot of it was quite a journey. And for me, what helped me the most was going back to my own childhood and try to remember how I used to look at my own father as a child, because it's how you look at your parents, how do you experience them. And so those little things like the watch on his hands and all this tiny stuff of how everything feels much bigger and you kind of like disappears. Everything, a moment in a child's point of view is like a universe. So it was really to go back and try to remember. So it was quite an interesting journey for me.
Tamar, at any point, was there not fear, but like any sort of like concern about sharing this story?
No, I think not, because I think I was very much ready. Also, I was in the same time I started to record my first album. That also I have a lot of songs that I wrote about my father like almost 15 years ago. So it was parallel, these two things, and I was very, very ready to experience and to dig into the story. So because I think it's after almost 15 years, it felt like I wanna give it, space and to share it, because I think for me it's a really good way to feel more complete.
Yeah. I felt while working next to Tamar on the film, because we, in the process of the writing of the scenario, the script and everything, it felt like it's really a closure process for Tamar. It's like this little girl is now looking at it from a different perspective, from a grown-up perspective, who's like ready to dive into these places that her father never really shared with her. So I think through this movie, I think it was kind of like a window for her to go in and imagine how it would have been if we would have like talk about it more and
talk about the war, but about the feelings, and not only just in a very technical way. So it was for me, and another moment with my father. And also the character is really look alike my father, so it's crazy.
And also for your question about the little girl, well, Tamar I didn't know her as a child, but I like in the 30 years old woman she is now, to me, she still acts like this little girl, this tiny. It wasn't very difficult to characterize.
I don't know if it's a compliment, but
yeah.
Every project has its challenges. What was the most challenging part of making A Journey with My Dad?
Wow, there were many. I think first of all, like the film was a co-production between France and Israel, and it's kind of the story of our life, because we were in the middle of on the line between Israel and France, especially when the COVID started. So we were actually came to Israel and get stuck there. We were supposed to come only for 1 week. Then we've been there 5 months.
Almost 6 months, yeah.
Almost 6 months. So we kind of like changed the team and started to do, instead of the French team, we started to do the production in Israel. So it was challenging, but in the same time, it felt really good because it gave us all the point of views that we wanted to.
Yeah, I
to
think
go
in production-wise, it wasn't a very regular production, as if we would have sit in the studio with the team. Because the production started as COVID started, it really made us think creatively how we do it, and we were really like just moving back and forth and really needed to be flexible as much as possible. And on a personal level, for me, at least the first 2 years of development was extremely difficult, because it felt almost like a burden to try to tell such a personal story that isn't mine. I think that was for me the biggest challenge. Who am I to tell such a sensitive story, that like to talk about a person I've never met, to talk about a trauma I cannot understand, and a childhood I've never lived. And for me, that was a huge obstacle, and it took me a while. And as I said, with the point of view of the girl, I think the moment when I started to feel like this story is something I can tell, I can relate to emotionally, it's when I started to put myself there and think of how I used to look at my own father. And then it kind of became like somehow my own point of view in the film. And this is where things started to go more naturally. And I felt like I have room to move, to put my own emotions there. And I have the right to tell this story. That's for me.
It feels like it was really a project of personal growth for both of you as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I want to say that, it was very, very personal. I think this is the heart of what was very challenging, because
I think I was
everything
also
was
very
so
lucky,
personal.
yeah, because Tamar gave me complete freedom to do a complete freedom to do what I want with this story. She trusted me completely. I think that even scared me even more, that I have all that freedom to take it wherever. And but I'm happy. It was a great opportunity. And
Well,
we're still married. We didn't get divorced in the way.
Yeah,
So
so
this is
it means
the
a lot,
success.
well, I mean, success on many fronts, because I mean, the movie it's not only beautiful, it's really powerful and emotional, as you know, it plays so well, and clearly that message is being transmitted, because I mean, the jury felt it was a really powerful film. It won the second prize basically of the festival. Yeah. Are there plans for you guys to collaborate more and to work together more?
And I think in the personal life, yes.
Tamara was so naive when she got into this project. She said, yeah, let's do animation film. And now when we're done, she said, like, this was my first and last animation film ever.
I'm more in the live action now.
But no, I think we're still collaborating on stuff. But I think as for animation project, well, ask us in 10 years, maybe Tamar will change her mind, or I will convince her to, because she's a superstar producer. So we must collaborate in different ways, but maybe more on personal life projects.
No, but I think, I mean, for me, all my projects, also my video clips, also my songs, like every project I do, I consult with Mor and I count on her. So for me, we collaborate also in the art, like in everything I do. But this kind of big production, to do a collaboration, let's take time.
We survived this one. Let's take a break.
Well, congratulations both on the film. It's been super lovely to speak to you both. I hope it's not 10 years before we see another film from you more. But
no, I'm actually now in a residency in France. I'm writing a new film. So
wonderful. Well, I'm sure you'll both travel together. We'll hopefully have a chance to see you both at Spark very, very soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. It's been very lovely. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.